Gaming Bolt presents 14 disturbing Pokemon facts you may not know. We have a lot of stuff to cover here, so let us jump right in. Rival's Raticate has died when you see him in Lavender Town. While on your first Pokemon adventure in Red and Blue versions, you eventually get to Lavender Town. As you climb up its 7 floors, you run into your rival. He is standing in front of a grave, and as you approach he asks, "Do you know about loss?" Then, once you start to battle, he is mysteriously missing his Raticate. This is supposedly because his Raticate had passed away, and he is in Lavender Town to bury his beloved Pokemon. Cubone wears its mother's skull on its head. Cubones actually wear the skull of their deceased mother on their heads in order to always be close to her. It almost makes you feel bad for all those Cubone you knocked out to gain a little bit of XP. Phantoms are stumps that are possessed with the spirits of children who died while lost in the forest. Despite their appearance, no one expected them to have the origin they do. As it turns out, they're actually the spirits of children who died lost in the forest. So next time you run into one of these creatures while grinding levels, maybe show it some mercy. If Spoink stops bouncing, it will die. Spoink needs to bounce in order to keep its heart pumping. If it stops, it'll die. Even if it wanted to stop bouncing, it couldn't. This Pokemon is stuck in an endless bounce, continually putting on a happy facade for everyone it encounters. Yamask is the ghost of a deceased person, with the mask it wears representing their human face. Yamask is actually a persona ghost, with the mask made to look like the person while they were still alive. So when you see a Yamask approach you in the forest, just think that you are actually being attacked by a sad ghost, one who carries around its own face as a treasured memory. DRIFLOON fools children into thinking that they're a balloon and then carry them away. DRIFLOON pretend to be balloons, so when unsuspecting children come up and grab them, they are then carried away by the ghostly Pokemon. Knowing this, why do the adults keep sending 10-year-old kids off into the wild to become trainers, living with the knowledge that they could be carried off by a sentient balloon? It is especially disturbing that the Pokédex entry doesn't make this seem like an accident. These Pokemon go out of their way to trick and kidnap children, dragging them into the sky. The POKERUS is a virus that will make your Pokemon stronger by causing extreme growth and mutation. Pokemon can contract a strange disease known as the POKERUS. When it was originally discovered, players were alarmed. What kind of deadly illness had made its way into their treasured creatures? As it turns out, it actually makes a Pokemon stronger, boosting their stats and causing them to level up faster. While the virus's effects aren't disturbing, the concept itself seems a little twisted. What happens to the young kids who transmit this mysterious disease? Drowsy kidnaps children and steals their dreams. Pokemon is a very colorful world, but each creature seems to either live an eternal miserable existence or making life miserable for humans. But Drowsy's strange dietary habits don't seem as strange when you realize that it was based on the tapir, an animal that was rumored to eat dreams. GLALIE freezes Pokemon and then eats them. GLALIE is a giant ball of ice with 2 horns protruding out of its head, and it has a rather strange hobby. It freezes other Pokemon in a block of ice and then slowly eats them, savoring the experience. This once again raises the question, why do people let children play with these terrifying monsters? Gengar hides in people's shadows in order to sneak up on them and kill them. At night, Gengar sneaks through the darkness, following behind unsuspecting people and hiding in their shadows. It then leaps out and kills them before they even know what happened. Almost all the adults died in a massive war, as told by Lieutenant Surge before the players battle with him. As you face off against the fearsome electric gym leader Lieutenant Surge, he mentions fighting in a massive war years ago. This might be why so many young children are Pokemon trainers, because the majority of the adults died in a massive war. We don't know what happened in this war, but it was obviously devastating. The Pokemon episode Electric Soldier Porygon caused 700 Japanese children to have seizures, sending them to the hospital. One particular episode, Electric Soldier Porygon, saw Ash and the gang go inside a Pokeball and wage war with the digital Pokemon, Porygon. At one point in the episode, when digital rockets explode, the screen flashes red and blue quickly in order to illustrate a digital explosion. This caused 700 children to suffer seizures, sending them straight to the hospital. Pokemon are eaten. Have you ever stopped and wondered what people in the Pokemon world eat? They form special, unbreakable bonds with their creatures, and they appear to be the only animals on the planet. The sad truth is that people do eat Pokemon, with certain species actually being recognized as delicacies. While it isn't as noticeable in the games, there is an episode of the anime that has Ash walking along while biting into a fried Magikarp. Parasect is actually two Pokemon. Parasect is a massive crab with a giant mushroom on its back and glazed over white eyes. In reality, its eyes are glazed over because it doesn't actually have control over its own body. After it evolves, the mushroom on its back takes over, so Parasect is technically two Pokemon, the crab and the mushroom that controls it. Do you have any disturbing Pokemon facts to share? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like what we're doing, go ahead and click that subscribe button. See you soon.